big story here, surely, is how terrible Real Madrid were.
Yeah, real bad. I mean, properly hammered into the ground, particularly in the middle of the park. The middle of the park and the back line for Real Madrid were just absolutely hopeless. The amount of space that was afforded for PSG was incredible. They took full advantage. I mean, the work rate in the middle of the park, in particular from Idrissa Gueye and Verratti, was excellent. The performance of Di Maria, Icardi got an hour's football under his belt. They could afford to bring Choupo-Moting on, stick him out on the left-hand side. I mean, they ran them ragged.
Yeah.
Now, we talked about Zidane going back in there, and I know they've got injury issues, but so is PSG. We talked about his first stint and how all the big stars were still there, and it was about cajoling and getting the best out of them and managing them and keeping them happy and then getting the structure. This is a different ball game altogether, and he has got a huge job in his hand.
Just a reminder, PSG had no Cavani or Mbappe. They're both injured. Neymar suspended as well. Yet this could have been so much more than 3-0, Stevie. Madrid were that poor.
And that's the surprising thing. You know, Real Madrid defensively haven't been great in their own league, but tonight they were absolutely atrocious. You know, and I'm somebody who, yes, you can look at the middle of the park and they were horrible and they didn't stop anything from getting to the back line. But as a defender, there comes a time when you have to do your job, and not one of them did it. I mean, you talk about not making a challenge. You talk about not stepping out. You talk about dropping too deep. I mean, you name it, they got it wrong. I mean, every decision they made, the starting positions. I mean, I could go through A to Z of defending, and they got this wrong tonight. And I'm talking about people like Varane, who you expect to be the leader back there. Militao was embarrassing, in my opinion, but Varane wasn't far behind him. And Courtois, I don't remember the last time this guy made a save that actually meant something. So, looking at that team, there's not one thing that you can be positive about. Not one single thing.
You look at that 11, on paper, that's a good team, isn't it?
Yes, but that's the thing that we just have to get used to with this version of Real Madrid. It doesn't matter what the names are. It doesn't matter the uniform that they're wearing. You take that away, and this was the performance of a mid-table team that's struggling with administrative issues. They're not paying their players. There's turmoil in the front office. That's what they look like, a team that had their focus somewhere else other than out on the field. They did not compete. Never mind get close to somebody and try to tackle, what Steve was alluding to. They didn't even get close to try to challenge somebody. This was a good old-fashioned backside whooping where PSG was first to everything, second to everything, and third to everything. And then after that came Gareth Bale trying to make an effort and create an opportunity, which was really perhaps the only player that you could say maybe he was trying to do something out on the field that was useful. You take Eden Hazard, was he even playing? Yeah. And we've already addressed the midfield. We already addressed the back line. And so you're thinking, well, maybe the attacking talent is going to take over. No, Hazard, never saw him in the game. Gareth Bale tried a couple of things, not so much. Benzema, nowhere to be seen. Overall, across the board, in every facet of the game, Real Madrid were very, very poor and nowhere near the level that you expect. This team did not compete and they looked disinterested.
First time in 564 matches that Real Madrid haven't had a shot on target.
Wow.
And you've got...
Well, they had two, but they didn't count because they were correctly ruled out by VAR.
Yeah.
Correctly. So, and the commentator was waffling on about how VAR was spoiling the game and all that, and it was wrong. I mean, you know, breaking the law is breaking the law, and that's what happened. So, yeah, no shots on target, which is pretty appalling.
Steve, you said Hazard doesn't look fit, does he?
No, you know, if he's not fit, he's not fit. But again, I'll go back to the point. You've got, and he's played more than, he's played this season. You've got Gareth Bale, who is not a happy camper in that environment, and the manager's not happy. We know he doesn't want him there. Same with James Rodriguez. And you've got Casemiro, who can't get around the field as he once did. You got Hazard, who's not quite fit, can't help that. You got defenders out, and then you got to go. I'm with him. I'm not convinced with Courtois. I mean, I said at the start of the season, at the end of last season, I prefer Keylor Navas to table Courtois.
Who we could have played in goal today. That little to do. And we could hear Frank Leboeuf in the background.
Was he playing conkers?
It sounded like he dropped something on the floor. Frank, we'll talk about PSG in a moment, but first, your take on Real Madrid.
Oh, I think it was really poor. I'm not surprised. In fact, I always said that Real Madrid, after winning all the trophies, especially the 3 times the Champions League, most players they were at the end of a cycle, and from Florentino Perez and the coach who came straight after, Zinedine Zidane, they should have changed. I know it's difficult, but they should have changed half of the dressing room to make sure that they had the motivation to keep on winning something. And in fact, when you see the players running, they don't have the stamina. They don't have any more character to go and fight. They're not, in fact, hungry enough to keep on working hard. And that's the main problem they have. Talking about the defense, Varane has always been in the shade of Ramos, and without Ramos, it seemed that Varane is lost, and we saw that tonight. But what about the midfield zone? I mean, the players who are there, they really, well, nowhere near it. Comparing to Gay, Verratti, Marquinhos, they work so hard, they work their socks off, and they kill them in the midfield zone when you win the war, in fact. So very, very disappointed about Real Madrid, and in fact, not very surprised about it.
Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPNFC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.